Aak'wtaatseen. Jack.
Dalton.
Jack. Dalton.
It's good to see you. Ejected the heck out of us.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to The Defenders of Alaska Native Country, which is a play by Ishmael Hoyt, who is a Juneau-based playwright. This is a work that actually had its first read-through last Saturday in Juneau at Perseverance Theater. And we're so excited that we're able to actually include it as part of the conference. And so we have a wonderful, illustrious cast that is going to be working with Ishmael on this reading tonight. But I want to thank Perseverance Theater helped make this possible, the Alaska Native Oratory Society as well. And so we're going to listen to this fantastic new play, great cast, wonderful readers. I want to thank all of the readers. At the end of the reading, there'll be a little Q&A with the playwright. And anyway, let's just sit back and enjoy this wonderful, wonderful work.
Thanks to Maria. Thanks to all the organizers here for having us. This is so wonderful to be here. My God, this last 2 days were so amazing and so beautiful. So now we're going to share this history. And I know that a lot of people are connected to the people in this history. There's Mita Schleifman, right over there. And then there's Jacqueline Estes, right over here. From the Paul family, and also from the Jones family. So both sides there. We're going to talk directly about their history. So, forgive us if we make any mistakes. And I also wanted to acknowledge that I saw Diane Benson. Diane Benson. And she's done so much wonderful work with Elizabeth and Roy Paradovich and just history. Just the history. As a historian, as a Native historian. So it's really wonderful to see Diane here. So Gunashish. And just also to everyone here, it's just amazing. Just the talks that we've heard, all our elders that are here, and then as we've said thanks to people, thanks to the Kwan, the Athabaskan, the Dena'ina Athabaskan, for being on your land. This is your land. Yi'ani Aya. So Gunashish, and this is just an attempt, a try. We're just going to try. So we're going to introduce ourselves, and then we're just going to go right in, and then we'll have a little bit of a Q&A after this. So my names are Unguluk and Kakwask. And my English name is Ishmael Hoyt. That's what I like to say. So, and I'm going to read the part of Andrew Hope, the senior, Ka'ushte of the Aak'wtaatseen of the Kagwantan. I'm going to be reading from my Dakanuku, my outer shell. And also Fred Paul, Xh'unei. He received the name of Charlie Jones, Xh'unei, and of the Nanya Ayi.
Chish dekat Yohan Konea ya aksai kadu ani kaudenu Ejakaya dekina sai Ach Dukag Dak Away. My name is Lance Twitchell, or Xh'unei. I'll be playing Charlie Jones and Frank Johnson.
Aak'wtaatseen. My English name is Mike Hoyt. I'll be playing Lewis Paul. That's pretty much it.
My English name is Jack Dalton, and today I am playing William Paul, so I'll be yelling a lot.
My name is Jeff Aldridge, and tonight I'll be reading for James Curry, a fox farmer, a state trooper, a Supreme Court justice, territorial Senator Shattuck, and a landlord.
My name is Danita Ryan Romer, and I will be playing Roy Kracevich and Bill Paul Jr.
Hi, my name is Anna Smith Chiburis, and I'll be reading the part of Elizabeth Paradovich.
The Defenders of Alaska Native Country by Ishmael Hope.
Okay, Act 1, Scene 1. William Paul, Bill Paul Jr., Fred Paul, and Lewis Paul are on a boat out fishing.
It's been a long fight, sons.
Don't worry, we'll get some fish today, Bob.
No, I'm talking about the land fight. It's been a long fight.
Looks like it's going to be a long night.
I like being out fishing at nighttime. You get to see how sharp you are. I guess the old timers would stay out late until they got something too. They knew their way around. They really knew their way around.
Pa, do you think they'll find us?
I hope they do.
Heck, we should even cut down those godforsaken fish traps ourselves. This is our land.
Lewis, I like your anger. Helps me think clearly when I talk to you, like a nice hot cup of coffee in the morning.
Well, the anger is just. They try to paint you like an angry rabble-rouser, trying to stir up the mob if you say anything. Well, sometimes we need a little shaking up.
I think back to Peter Simpson. He was about the kindest, gentlest man you'd ever meet. But he sat me down one time, had a real intense look in his eye. He was a man of few words, but when he spoke, you listened. It was the 1925 convention. We were arguing about whether to fight for the land or fight for citizenship and civil rights. We didn't know we could have both. We had nothing. Nothing. Things are a bit better now, boys, but when I was growing up, you had to fight every day just to survive. Fight off the attacks against you and your people, the relentless attacks. You learn how to defend yourself, or you just crumple up. Well, Peter Simpson, the father of the ANB, sat me down, talked about our land. I didn't know what to fight for. Maybe we could get a few civil rights. Like when I won us the right to vote for all. I was with old Charlie Jones. Maybe we could fight for those rights. There are at least a few sympathizers who are sympathetic to that cause. But the land? No one. No friends, no support, no understanding. Everyone could relate to being treated decently at a restaurant, or being welcomed into a movie theater, or being able to vote. But the land? The stolen land? Our land? No. No one could relate to that. Not even the most liberal sympathizer. They just don't get it. They don't get that we didn't voluntarily give up our land. They don't get that the United States government didn't really buy the land from the Russians.
That's true, Pa.
They don't get that there was no war or treaty between the government and our people.
Yeah.
They don't get that the people were terrorized by the government. They don't get that the government schools miseducated our young people into believing their lies.
That's true.
And they don't get that this happened not so long ago. They just don't get it. They don't get that we can reach a civil, peaceful, lawful, just agreement merely by understanding the real history and coming together to do the right thing. Peter Simpson sat me down and said, "Hey, Willie, who owns this land?" I paused for a moment. "Well, we do." "Then fight for it. Then fight for it. Then fight for it."
Peter reminded us many times of the biblical story where a man held out a stick to each of his sons and told them to break it. They took it and broke it easily. Then he bundled some sticks together. He told them to break them while they were all together, but none of them could do it. He said that if we're united, nothing could defeat us. It's okay to have your differences. It's okay to fight over the issues, but don't let it get personal. Just stay together, act as one.
Excuse me, sirs. You're going to have to put up your neck. You are under arrest.
This is our land.
Yeah.
It is owned by the Pacific American Canning Company.
No, it is owned by the Teton of the Shkakwan Federation. Do you even know the name of this place?
It is Salmon Bay. And the Pacific American Company has exclusive rights to the fish in this area.
No, it is Aak'wtaatseen. That is the name of this place. And the Teton tribe owns this area from mountaintop to mountaintop.
Oh, and who says?
The hereditary chief of the Teton, Xh'unei.
Tell that to the judge. He probably could use a good laugh.
I will tell him, and I will get him to recognize my people's ancient rights to their land, one way or the other. And if it doesn't work with him, I will move on to the next judge and the next lawmaker. You can't just laugh it away. You can't ignore it. You can't overlook what's right and what's wrong. Eventually, it will catch up to you.
Scene 2. The 1940 Wrangle Puig. Charlie Jones, Xh'unei, Shakes is speaking.
Hashagun Yahuds Shashaki Hachant Wugut On Kashakuch Ikabusani Yisani Klein
Okay.
Atuda Shinuch Yayach Tuwuyati Yikabusani Wuchi Jenashat Atuat Hitutla Ani Ya Yidat Ku'a a Sheikh away. Where you hide, where you hide, who where you hide, where you hide, where you hide, who where you hide, where you hide. Thank you truly. I feel good seeing your faces, my father's brothers, my father's sisters, my father's people. Thank you for coming here to our house, to this Mudshark house. Yes, I would like to explain to you how I feel. Our ancestor, the brown bear, would go with us to the top of the mountain during the flood. During the flood, your ancient paternal uncle, your immense uncle would help us. Yes, that is how I feel. Your ancient paternal uncle is clasping hands with you because of your kindness. Now, though, there will be dancing.
Scene 3. The 1940 Grand Camp Convention. You could hear a bunch of people outside. Roy and Elizabeth Paradovich and other young people are busy finishing up the last touches of the Klwok Alaska Native Brotherhood Hall. Painting and nailing boards down. Knocking.
Hold on just a minute.
We have business to get to!
Open up!
Roy, just let him in.
Hold on, Beth. I want it to look just right. There, come on in.
Scene 4. Andrew Hope and Frank Johnson on a boat.
Andrew, since you're in my part of the country, before we get to Klwok for the convention, I want to take you down to my home village, Shakan.
Didn't they abandon that place?
No, Shakan was not abandoned. We left it temporarily because of the smallpox epidemic. The children had to go to school, too.
How long has it been, Frank?
50-some years. It's a blink of an eye if you look at it from an Indian perspective.
When did you move out?
Well, just as a boy. Roy Parachovich and his family, they used to live there too. Their clan, the Nastadi, was nearly wiped out. One family kept it going. They stayed with the Xh'unei.
And your family?
Similar circumstances. We all still kept our history though. We know every nook and cranny of this place. We tell our legends. I used to stay up all night listening to the old-timers talk. They'd sit down and tell me story after story.
And you will pass it on too, to our younger generation.
No one cares about the old customs anymore.
Don't give up on the young people. They're going to want to know who they are.
Well, we arrived at my old haunts. Funny, I don't think I saw that cabin before.
A fox farmer appears out of a cabin with a rifle. He points it at Andrew and Frank.
What the hell are you Siwashes doing on my property?
Your property?
Yeah, my property.
My family had a fish camp right out here.
What, you think just because you Indians did a rain dance out here a couple of times, it's all of a sudden yours?
Frank, let's go, come on.
Yeah, get the hell off my goddamn property. Or you can stay and stick your nose in my barrel. I got an itchy finger, and you know what they say. The only good Indians is a dead Indian.
We're going, mister.
Yeah, you better, stinking Siwashes.
Scene 5. In Klwok, Lewis, William, Bill Jr., and Fred Hall plot their plan for the convention at a restaurant eating steaks. Enter James Curry, the Click and Hide lawyer.
Mr. Paul, pleased to finally meet you. We're in for the long haul, and I'm going to need your help.
Well then, hire me as your partner.
We'll certainly take it under consideration.
At least you have my son working for you.
With me, he's a full partner.
Well then, you just might get the right idea how to pursue your case.
What would you say is the right idea?
The clans, the real tribes, own the land.
What? Do you want, what, 15 lawsuits, 25?
There are over 70 tribes of Tlingit-speaking peoples in Alaska.
It'd be a mess. Just a mess.
It's our law.
We're dealing with the law of the United States.
I don't have time to explain this to him. The U.S. government has recognized sovereignty of tribes time and again, upheld their sovereignty in the courts, conveyed Aboriginal title as a government negotiating with another government. What is our government? It is not the toothless, pathetic bureaucracy the federal government is shoving down our throats. It's the clan system.
That's all fine and good, but we have a law to pass and a settlement to reach. We're working with the best legal theories that have provided Indian country with everything they enjoy today.
Oh, my goodness. We're in good hands now.
If you don't agree, you can voice your complaint like everyone else. But you don't run this. The people do.
What have the people accomplished since I was run out of the A&B leadership? Not a thing.
That chapter isn't over, William. We still have work to do. I'll see you at the convention. Gentlemen?
See you, Mr. Curry.
Good day.
James Curry leaves.
I can't believe they've got that joker Curry running their lawsuit.
Our lawsuit.
They don't represent me.
Then let's make them represent us. We can still get things done if we act now. The land suit has been on the back burner for too long. Too much petty silliness. Let's get on track with this convention.
If only they would realize I'm the guy to lead this lawsuit after Wickersham passed away. We're wasting our time with anyone else.
William, if only you knew the art of compromise.
Compromise for what?
Let yourself listen for once.
Watering down the agenda I set under the terms I set? I don't have time to sit around and listen to uneducated half-wits.
You're always right, Bill.
I am always right.
All right. Let's just advance the issues during this convention. We can really get there once I get elected Grand President and you get elected Grand Secretary.
We need to have more irons in the fire.
What do you have cooking?
Young Bill here had the right idea in his graduate thesis. We have unresolved Aboriginal titles to the land. The land was occupied before the Russians claimed the land. And it was still occupied during the Treaty of Cession, the so-called sale of Alaska to the United States. The Russians sold the right to govern Alaska as a, quote, civilized nation. But we're going about it all wrong. This could be resolved in the courts, not Congress. Congress is not a judicial body. It is a matter of law. We own the land.
So that's why you got us arrested. I didn't think it would get anywhere.
Oh, you've got to think ahead. You test and push and pull until you carve out some of your own space. There are good, just laws, good enough for a peaceful settlement.
I don't know, Pa. I'm going with Curry. He's my partner.
Bill, go ahead. But while you're at it, you're going to join your brother Fred for the fight of your lives. We have to fight from every angle, and eventually the right thing becomes clear before everyone's eyes. By that time, they won't even know who got him there. They'll just go out and take the spoils we left for them. And they'll be damned to give you any credit. But you and I will know. Yep, you are going to file a lawsuit on behalf of your father's clan, the Teatan. And you're going to win back our land.
Okay, Pa.
Sounds good, Pa.
Scene 6, a cut to the nomination for Grand President. And the nominations for President are Louis Paul and Roy Peradovich. William Paul and Louis Paul give each other a look. Roy Peradovich and Elizabeth Peradovich give each other a look.
Can you believe it, honey?
This is ridiculous.
Yeah, I can't believe they want me to be president.
Withdraw your name.
What? No.
You'll embarrass us. You'll embarrass your family. You'll tarnish our good name. Get out now.
Come on, honey. This is our chance. We can change everything here. I've seen how disgusted you are about how we were treated. This is our chance.
Just how do you think you can do all that if you make a fool out of yourself?
I can win this thing.
What? Are you crazy? That's Louis Paul. You know how some people give him more credit than his brother? He has the people's respect. He's what you aspire to, not what you are.
Beth, sometimes you just have to be a man and take what comes to you and make the best of it. If I lose with respect. If I run away, I'm a coward.
Well, at least I warned you.
Scene 7.
Can you believe that? Roy Peradovich! Roy Peradovich! Who the heck is Roy Peradovich?
He's an eager and capable young man. You saw how I put together this convention with no money and no building. He rallied the community for this. Give him a try.
Andrew, there you go again. Always trying to kill the golden goose.
And just what is the golden goose?
Me! Where Mr. Indian reached his highest heights when he followed William Paul. Now he's reached his lowest lows because he follows mediocrities like you and Roy Peradovich.
Bill, come on, man.
Frank, you're usually my voice of reason. Let's get off this Roy Peradovich disaster.
Sorry, Bill. I think he's got a chance to do some good.
Can't believe this. Where have all my friends gone?
Maybe you should have thought of that before you spent all your clients' money, got yourself debarred, and slowed down the land claims fights.
Frank, you... I'm not even going to dignify you with a response. I'll see you gentlemen later.
Scene 8, the next day at the convention. And the next Grand President of the Alaska Native Brotherhood by a vote count of 3-1 will be Mr. Roy Peradovich. Elizabeth and Roy hug. Lewis shakes Roy's hand. Scene 9. Business later in the day.
All right, let's get to business. I'll need your support, especially from you fine old gentlemen on the executive committee. I have a lot to learn. Now to start, the chair will entertain motions related to the land suit.
Mr. Chair, I move that we finally get the land suit off the ground and send 2 men to Washington, D.C. to lobby Congress to move the suit forward. The Jurisdiction Act passed 4 years ago. We must move forward.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Seeing none, let's vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, it passes.
Mr. Chair, I move that we send the Grand President and the Grand Secretary to Washington.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any objections? Hearing none, we'll send the Grand President and the Grand Secretary to lobby Congress to move the Tlingit and Haida land suit forward.
Move to adjourn.
There's been a move to adjourn. Any objection?
I object.
And why on earth?
Mr. President, I move to bestow the Secretary full authority to pursue the business of the Brotherhood after adjournment of our convention.
I hear a motion. Is it seconded? Hearing no second, I adjourn the meeting.
Objection, Mr. President.
We're adjourned.
No, we're not. I suggest that the President read Robert's Rules of Order, and if he needs help understanding the bigger words, then the Grand Secretary will make his time available. There is no motion to adjourn.
But Brother Hope just...
Yeah, it was a motion that was objected to. You need a new motion.
All right. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All right. It's been moved and seconded. Any objections? Seeing none, we're adjourned.
As people back to the things, William comes up to Roy.
Roy, let's say you and I get some dinner.
I thought you...
Oh, come on. I'll treat you and your lovely wife. These meetings can work up an appetite. Let's get some nice ribeyes.
Okay, sure, William.
Ah, call me Bill.
Scene 10. The end of the day at the Klawock Convention. Frank Johnson and Andrew Hope at the restaurant in Klawock. Boy, sometimes that William Paul sure irritates the shit out of me. You see how he tried to dominate every goddamn minute of the convention? Not to mention take credit for everything good we've ever done. If I hear that goddamn Peter Simpson fight for the land story, I'm gonna punch someone.
Connie, if you'd allow me, I'd like to suggest something.
Sure, Frank. I always appreciate hearing what you have to say.
You heard the story of Duktud?
Yeah.
Strength came to him while he was training alone in the water, middle of the night. That young man became a powerful man then. He ripped out the village knot. He just split it to roots. He didn't say anything then. Just waited. He went out as a baler, a poor man, on his way to Ta'anani. He didn't show his strength until his people needed him. His uncle Kashwait was killed by Nukakawu, the giant sea lion. Duktud showed who he really was then. He killed Nukakawu, tore him by the flippers. He stayed quiet and humble. He had true Tlingit nobility in him. They're the same for men like him. Just acted as a baler. That's what I think about when I think of the work we're doing. Let him take all the credit. Let those Brachoviches take the credit. Let William Paul bluster his way through every meeting. But I've seen you and I know your true nature. I know you're a man who's giving everything to your people. When you go home, and we go do your work for those Sheldon Jackson kids, and when you go fishing, you don't say a damn word about everything you're doing. You just do your job. People respect and remember that. Especially the ones who know our Tlingit ways. Just keep acting as the baler.
Sunny. Sekuaya ades kunuguye lahashishkuas. Yake. Scene 12. Roy Bradovich, William Paul, and James Curry meet in Washington, D.C.
James, it's great to see you.
Likewise, Roy. Mr. Paul. It's good to see you again.
Well, let's get down to business. How do we get this act rolling?
Well, there's a lot of Washington on. Excuse me, William?
Nothing.
And we can get somewhere with it.
At least out of dead center.
Right, but I wanted to start by reminding you, gentlemen, that we don't have to rely on DC alone. I've been working tirelessly, putting hundreds of hours of my own time.
Are you going to bill us for all those hours?
No, of course not.
Let's get that in writing.
Anything you say, boss. Anyway, I've been working tirelessly on pursuing possessory claims, claims that can be litigated by individuals.
Judge Wickersham must be rolling in his grave right now.
At least it's something. It's at least something, and it's getting somewhere.
You see where lack of inertia and lack of creative thinking gets you, Roy? Nowhere land.
I'm also pursuing the overall land suit. You know that.
More like pretending you're doing something with it, and then pretending you're doing something with possessory bull hooey, so you can cover your ass when you report to Grand Camp. Can't just pile bull crap on top of bull crap and call it anything but bull crap.
Take that back.
What is this? Grade school?
William, I think we've had enough of that. Let's just move forward.
Sometimes you have to move forward by cutting ties with what's dragging your ass.
Still jealous about not being the lawyer on this one, huh?
No, I'm just sick and tired of getting the runaround from you.
What should we do? Follow the advice from a disgraced former lawyer?
Now, I've put up with a lot in my time, but I have never seen such a half-assed, wimpy name caller.
So I'm the name caller?
Yes, you are, because I have ideas and a plan. You have nothing. You just resort to diversions and name-calling.
All right, gentlemen, stop. We've all had a long day.
Oh, okay. Let's listen to the shill for the Bureau of Indian Affairs.
Mr. Paul, you stop right now. Or let's take it outside.
Why not right here? Here's my face, Roy. Your brother tried the same baloney before. Come on, give it your best.
You son of a bitch, cut it out.
We have no money and no time, fellas. We can't screw this up. This isn't personal, even if you take everything I say personally because you're afraid I'm right.
Okay, Mr. High and Mighty. Cool off and we'll see you later.
All right. I'll see you at the hotel room.
William Paul leaves.
It's crawled up his butt.
I don't know. Maybe trouble at home, maybe he can't pay his bills.
Let's get a drink.
All right, but you're buying, aren't you, fella?
Certainly. Now, Roy, Mr. Paul wouldn't let me finish. The other thing we need to work on is an all-out lobbying effort to stop any language on Aboriginal title in the statehood bill. The bill currently in committee will eliminate all Aboriginal claims. We have to stop it. We have to stop it with everything we have got. We can do this. If we strike hard and know what we're saying and say it together and say it forcefully.
No, why didn't you talk like that in front of Bill?
Why would I give that son of a gun some of my best tactics? He'd make it out like it was his idea.
Scene 12, 1940 Wrangell Kuik, Charlie Jones.
Sani hus, hus.
Sheesh.
Ye setinya gods,
Cheesh.
Banakadet gods aya.
Okay.
Tahe tachi setiyu. Ya take our to setinia way to just show us the hip. Way te how at.
Okay.
Way at Khadi. Just the cut at.
Okay.
Oh, ya way eti. Ya ye do khuda khutqani.
Cheesh.
Anaski de at. Ana ya takhwa sa Aak'wtaatseen. Ha khanchi adi.
Cheesh.
Shahe cousin.
Cheesh.
Yes, my father's brothers, my paternal aunties, You see this house post, the Aak'wtaatseen gods. It gives us blessings, they say. One who sees it fills up their cache with furs, with food, everything. It seems like that is like that, looking among your faces. Yes, I am a humble person. Even so, how much we treasure that you are by our sides. Yes, it gives us blessings.
Scene 13. Roy back at the hotel room with William.
How was it?
A little tedious.
He's all right.
What are you saying? He's all right. You were going at him from the get-go.
Sometimes you can't get things done just by being the nice guy.
That's sure right.
Boy, though, I can't stand listening to him. His ideas are like peeing down your own leg. It's hot to him, but not to anyone else.
You really are an ass.
Okay, enough of this. You like watching the wrestling matches, huh? We both do. I got this licked, Roy. I got this licked. You know we can't afford these wrestling matches. We're in the big city, we want to go. So tomorrow you and I put us down for an extra meal at the superintendent's office, and then we'll use the extra cash for the wrestling. Those government bureaucrats won't know a thing.
Gee, that sounds pretty good, Bill. Isn't that cheating Uncle Sam?
Why, yes.
Then we must do it.
Hell, it's late. We just have this one bed. Do you want to flip a coin to see who sleeps on the floor?
Hell no. Not with that. How cold it gets in these rooms at night.
Well, I'll use my coat as a blanket. Are you sure you want to do this?
At least you're Raven and I'm Eagle.
Scene 14. Elizabeth meets a landlord applying for a home.
Yes, it's just a matter of a few days.
We're very grateful.
What brings you to Juneau?
My husband and I thought there were better opportunities here.
Where are you from?
Sitka and mostly Kawak.
Oh. You don't mind me asking, what's your background?
What?
Your background? Your ethnicity?
Tlingit Indian.
And your husband?
Tlingit as well.
I'm sorry, we just don't,
What?
we don't rent to natives.
You wouldn't be able to reconsider?
No, ma'am. I'm sure you're a very fine lady. You don't seem like all the rest. But once we let one in, they're all going to want in, and then what are we going to do? We want a good, clean, safe neighborhood.
Well, thank you very much for your time, sir.
Scene 15. William Paul with Andrew Hope and Frank Johnson.
I'm telling you, you'll never get it, not in a million years.
How are you so sure, Bill?
For one, you've got a joker running your business.
Isn't it our business?
You didn't make me your lawyer.
James Curry's doing a fine job. He's protecting our travel status from termination. He's one of the best political thinkers we've ever had on our side.
That's right.
Yes, he's a good activist, but he's a lousy lawyer.
He knows what he's doing, Bill. He's proven.
He told the United States Congress he hasn't received a plugged nickel from the Alaska Native Brotherhood. Is that true?
Well, we paid him, but he said that all went to his expenses.
Did he receive more than a plugged nickel from the ANB?
It takes a lot of resources to lobby Congress.
Yes or no will do. How much did he get?
My books say over 3,000 in the last 4 years.
Let's get documentation of that.
Bill, you know what he meant.
I know what he said. And what he said was a lie. He says I'm trying to sabotage you, but he speaks with the forked tongue. You have to cut your ties now and start fresh. Might already be too late.
Well, what would you do?
You've got the wrong angle. For one, you're wasting too much time on possessory. Wickersham gave us a brilliant scheme, and now we're letting precious time slip by with all these nutball little claims. You can get it in one fell swoop.
That's what we're doing. You're the one going out on his own with this Teton case of yours, Bill.
You got me all wrong on that one. It's for all of us.
Is that so, Bill?
Yes, Andy. It's for all of us. The Treaty of Cession was signed in 1867. Who do you think we were then?
Clink it.
And what language did we speak?
Clink it.
And what laws did we practice?
Our own.
Okay, that's what I'm getting at. Charlie Jones and all the old-timers always stressed the supremacy of the clans. You wonder why? Well, we're fed all this rah-rah about democracy and capitalism and the English language and jobs and the Great White Way. Well, we had our own ways. The single unifying theme of the old ways, what all the old-timers constantly stressed, was the importance of the clans. That made everything. And the United States government bought the right to govern our country. So now they have to deal with us within the framework of their own laws, which is government to government, nation to nation. They have no goddamn say-so about how we govern ourselves. The clans own the land. The clans have history in each place. The ancestors live there. It is Aak'wtaatseen. It is our spiritual foundation. And it's our way of doing things. It's our law. This is our land. Peter Simpson gave me the charge years ago.
Okay.
Now, this is how we fight for our land, because this is how we own our land.
So what do you want to do? Abandon your United States citizenship?
No! The finer points of this country's laws, its highest ideals, are to respect other people. We're Tlingit. God never told us to be anything else.
Come on, William. You can't live in the past.
It's not the past. It's right now, and centuries from now, when we're all long gone.
Oh yeah, is that the case?
It's what makes us who we are.
Oh, okay.
We should be surrounded by the ancestral spirits, guiding us, giving us strength, telling us what's right and what's wrong. We get that through the clans. We were tricked, fooled, made to feel ashamed of our heritage, as if it didn't mean anything in the march of civilization. When we get up and we honor our ancestors and feed the opposites and tell our clan histories and govern under our own tribal law, we are strengthening ourselves. It's the greatest act of sovereignty we could possibly choose. And I'll be damned if that's taken away from me. Over my dead body, no one will take away who we are.
Come on, Bill. You know if this Teton case gets anywhere, you're going to get rich from the settlement. Your clan owns more than the other clans.
Oh, who cares? It's my clan's land. That's where my ancestors lived and died. It is not mine versus yours. That's white man's thinking. It's ours. We own the land.
Not to mention, you'll swoop in with big lawyer fees, divvying up the settlement.
Yes, I'll charge what I'm worth. What have you ever done? But smile your big fat smile and shake your knobby hands, Andrew.
Mr. Paul, I've done more than you think. You swoop in with 100 ideas, half of them bad, and then me and Frank take the good ideas and do the work for it. And then when we succeed, you take the credit.
It's because I deserve the credit. I did it. Me. I did it. Where would you have gotten without me? Nowhere. A mess.
Bill, for crying out loud. Stick to the issues.
I am.
And tell us about the clans in this day and age. They're dead. There are no clans. We're citizens now. Just United States citizens like anyone else.
No. We're more than that or we're nothing.
Then what are we?
We've been given a choice. 2 choices. The first, be a competent Christian citizen. The second, be Tlingit. The only choice that's sensible, that's progressive, that's healthy for us and our children and our grandchildren is both. There's no tribal law that says no to God, that says no to new tools and new ideas for living. But if we abandon the old tribal ways, we're abandoning our political will, our identity, and the spiritual strength that has served us Tlingit people since the beginning, when we first settled in this beautiful rainforest. If we don't know our history, we start to adapt the white man's ideas of ourselves. And then we might begin seeing our own clan history like it's a threat, like it's bad, wrong, misguided, savage. Our people might fear the clans, fear our birthright to be Tlingit, our birthright to the land and to hunt and fish and raise our families on this land, made sacred by the ancestors who gave their lives on the ground where we stand, shed blood for it, for us. There is nothing to be afraid of. No one can take away our sacred rights. No one will.
Fighting us, Bill.
No, I'm not. I'm fighting for us. I'm a clan leader. You two are Anyaki. Noble people.
No, I'm not. Don't you know how poor I am?
Tlingit nobility runs deeper than mere appearance, Frank. Or have the missionaries beaten that out of you?
Frank lunges at William. Andrew pulls him apart. Come on now, gentlemen. We're getting too old for this.
The clans own the land. Join me or fail.
William, all right, I've heard you, but I am president of the Tlingit and Haida organization, and I represent more than your interests. I represent all the people, many who have very different opinions. I have some of my own, but I follow the people's and the best advice that I get. I don't have any agendas but the people's. The people and the best legal minds who've worked on hundreds of cases of Indian law tell me that we're going to pursue our land through the court of claims. And we're going to form tribes made of villages and a central tribe administering for everybody. That's what they tell me. A good president leads best by following the people and the good advice he gets.
Lead by following. No wonder why we never get anywhere with you.
Bill, I've just about had enough of you.
Or is it really because your clan doesn't own any land?
Andrew lunges at William. Frank stops him.
All right, fellas. Let's go home to our wives and families.
I'll tell you one thing, fellas. I am not going to give up one more inch, not a goddamn inch. They've taken and taken and taken, and at some point we have to stand up and say, enough. No more. Not an inch more of land, not an inch more of our dignity. I want our grandchildren to know that someone fought for them, someone stood up for them. I want them to know that there was nothing wrong with their parents and their grandparents and great-grandparents. Okay, they were attacked because those people wanted their land. They had imperfections and faults and gifts and humanity like all the rest of us. But there is no reason to feel ashamed of ourselves and our heritage. We were attacked for our land and nothing else. We should never have any reason to feel like there's some kind of terrible, shameful flaw to us. We are proud, strong, beautiful people. Oh, sure, we should be weeping, crying, praying for some distant salvation over what happened to us. But instead, we get up and we fight. and we fight for our people. We fight for our people because this is our land.
William Lees. Can you believe this guy? If he had in your pinky, the old time knowledge, if he had what you have in your pinky, the old time cultural knowledge you were born and raised with, he'd have some idea what he was talking about. As it is, he can't even put a sentence together in his own language. All right.
We need that guy. As ridiculous as he gets, we need him. We need every single kind of leader. It's all hands on deck. Don't let him get to you. Just keep on fighting. You got a long way to go.
Scene 16. Louis Paul, Ha-Yash, at the 1940 Ku'ik.
Aak'wtaatseen.
Oh, wait.
Aak'wtaatseen.
Okay.
Aak'wtaatseen. 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 Haslilku has ades kunuguye.
Yeah.
Itinak hayati. Ha kapas. Ha tla kapas. Aak'wtaatsigu yin kakwanige. Adad Aak'wtaatseen yati.
Ikpati.
Ha tla gushade hani kakshu akich.
Gunachish.
Ya tsuts khan ani kak. We tsuts khan has akuhet. Tle has du tua ushku kutlagawu.
Yeah, away.
Aga away. We tsa has alfiesh.
Gunachish.
Yes an ka utsa.
Gunachish.
Aak'wtaatseen we khanas. Kide alfihash.
Gunachish.
Yaslin get at has ausitin. Has ausiku. Hashad hani wuna. Tle khant has uwanuk.
Gunachish.
Ya aktu yati.
Okay.
Ashade hani cook with a gut.
Yeah. Gunachish.
Idayin ayu gagi uwagut.
Gunachish.
Itlagu sani. Dukusa hani yikak.
Gunachish.
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 Yes, my brothers-in-laws, my paternal uncles, my paternal aunties, my children. It is like we were imitating the way our grandparents did things. We are in need of our maternal uncles, of our mothers' maternal uncles. I would like to tell you about how I'm thinking. Our ancient leader passed away in Xinjiang country. The Xinjiang people were afraid. They didn't want to fight. So then they made a ceremonial hat, the Raven Lord hat. They put it on a raft. It floated down, and the people saw it. The people saw it, and they knew that our leader had died, but they weren't angry.
Your brothers-in-law hear you?
Yes, that is how I feel. Our leader has come back. He has come out to face you, your ancient paternal uncle, because of his love for you. Thank you. Thank you.
Scene 17. A phone call between Roy Paradovich and James Curry.
James, hello.
Right.
Listen, James, I better just get it right down to it. The executive committee just met, and we've decided, well, you're not going to be our lawyer anymore.
Now, what do you say?
Everyone just felt it was time to move on.
This is a big case, Roy. I'm right in the middle of it.
I know.
I've done everything you asked of me and more. Don't listen to William Paul's lies about me. I can still do this for you.
James, you know I've been on your side. We just don't have the support anymore.
Roy, I kept the government from terminating all your claims. I lobbied the Congress to keep your rights. I honed and refined your claims to the land.
I know, James, I know.
This is all because some jerk didn't like me, a big jerk that you let jerk you around. Jerk,
I know.
you won't get anywhere now. You just watch. You don't have the right people for the job. You just watch.
You're probably right.
I just don't understand.
Scene 18. Louis Paul and Roy and Elizabeth Pradvich, a day before the testimony for the Anti-Discrimination Bill 1945.
All right. How are we going to do this?
What do you want me to say?
This is our shot. They could delay the Anti-Discrimination Act for another 2 years.
Okay, what do you think their argument is going to be?
You've heard it before, racial antagonism will still persist whether we have a law for it or not.
And of course, they'll talk about our drunken, stinking inferiority.
What do you think you can say then?
Enough. Roy, Mrs. Pradvich,
Good to see you, Frank. We're just talking over our big day tomorrow.
What's the plan?
We have to win the people's hearts. That's the only way.
How are you going to do that?
By tearing apart their logic.
Well, she's the brains of this family. Let her do it.
Think you're ready for it, Mrs. Pradvich?
We have to hit them back and hit them hard.
Okay, let's rehearse what might happen. I'll play the legislator. Who are you to think you're as good as us white people? You're just a bunch of savage, drunk Indians. I read that article about you singing your national anthem at that A and B convention. In Liquor we trust.
Go to hell.
You're going to have to do better than that, my lovely wife.
Okay, I am just getting started.
Hit them back with their own ideals. Wave the Bill of Rights in front of their faces. Let's try again. How can you demand the rights of civilization when you have no civilization?
The Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights says something about equality. All men are created equal. The Bill of Rights.
Honey, this is our chance. This is what we've been working for.
Okay, now they'll probably ask you if the law will do any good, if it will end discrimination.
That's easy. You could just say we have laws against murder, robbery, all kinds of crimes. If someone really wanted to commit those crimes, they could do it. But nevertheless, we have those laws on the books, so no one goes too far.
That's good. Oh, hell, I'm nervous.
You'll do fine, Beth. You'll do fine.
Now, Louis, since your brother destroyed Curry's reputation and got him fired, think we'll get anywhere with this land suit?
Let's just worry about the anti-discrimination bill. I know you're in great hands with the new lawyer, Lefty Wisebrook.
Scene 19. A Supreme Court justice delivering the court's opinion on Teton versus the United States.
This position of the Indian has long been rationalized by the legal theory that discovery and conquest gave the conquerors sovereignty and the ownership of the lands thus attained. The Teutons asserted that Russia never took their lands in the sense that European nations seized the rest of America. The Court of Claims, however, saw no distinction between their use of land and that of the Indians of the eastern United States. That court had no evidence that the Russian handling of the Indian land problem differed from ours. The natives were left the use of the great part of their vast hunting and fishing territory, but what Russia wanted for its use and that of its licensees, it took. The court's conclusion on this issue was based on strong evidence. Extinguishment of Indian title based on Aboriginal possession is, of course, a different matter. The power of Congress in that regard is supreme. No case in this court has ever held that taking of Indian title or use by Congress required compensation. The American people have compassion for the descendants of those Indians who were deprived of their homes and hunting grounds by the drive of civilization. They seek to have the Indians share the benefits of our society as citizens of this nation. Generous provisions has been willingly made to allow tribes to recover for wrongs as a matter of grace, not because of legal liability.
Scene 21. Fred Paul, Bill Paul Jr., and William Paul. Could you believe that, Pa? The highest court in the land, and then make up the history that we were conquered.
Don't worry, son. Don't worry.
What are you saying, Pa? After all that hard work, you just shrug it off?
We had a legal theory, we tested it, and it didn't work.
So you're just giving up?
If you listen closely, the courts gave special latitude to Congress being able to extinguish Aboriginal rights. Aboriginal title is finally recognized. The courts won't resolve it, but we're going to Congress. That's pretty important. They spat in our faces, but they left us with something. They left you with something, Junior. You better not screw this up.
Pa, I don't know if I can keep this up. I don't have the energy like you do.
You've done everything you could possibly do. I couldn't be prouder. Might not look that way, but today is one of the happiest days of my life. Because my sons fought for me and fought for what's right. You've done good, sons. You've done good.
Pa, I don't know if I see the light at the end of the tunnel.
You haven't been in it as long as I have, son. You just keep fighting. I think this Clinton and Hyde case just might win. But don't tell that to Andrew Hope or Frank Johnson.
Scene 21. Andrew Hope and Frank Johnson in the Clinton Hyde offices in Juneau. Frank, I got a letter from Mr. Paul this morning.
He sent you dozens of pages of handwritten junk like he does for me?
Yeah, I couldn't read the half chicken scratch.
What'd he say?
He's trying to screw over everyone like usual. He's suing us.
What?
Suing us for not representing him in the Xh'unei Federation of Wrangell. Xh'unei.
This has been going on 20 years. He doesn't stop. He just can't stop.
He's dividing the people yet again. Can you believe this crap? He lost his case. Now the bastard wants to sabotage ours.
Shit, well, Andrew, stay the course. People listen to you. Now more than ever, don't let William Paul get in the way.
Goddamn lawsuit. What are you thinking?
Just testify to Congress. Clarify the issue. We're so close. Let's prove them wrong the way we've always done. Courtesy and respect. It's the only way to lead the Clintons. That's why the people listen to you.
Frank, I don't know what I would have done without you.
Come on, let's get ready for the dance tonight.
Scene 22. William Paul and Elizabeth Pradovich ballroom dancing.
You think we'll get anywhere if this anti-discrimination law passes, Beth?
We'll be treated decently like human beings.
Ha!
You don't support anything that doesn't have your name attached to it.
No, I just fight for the right thing, whether anyone knows it or not.
We're going to win our rights, Bill, whether you like it or not.
No, you are going to win a big publicity campaign that will satisfy the liberal guilt of our white brothers. But it will do nothing for us. The discrimination will go on, even if it has to stay in hiding and remain unspoken. I sometimes like those no natives allowed signs. At least you know where a man stands. Now it'll be all boiling under the surface, even though all of us will know it's still there.
I'm not going to let you drag me down, William.
Oh, Beth. If you really knew me, you'd know I'm trying to lift you up. Oh, pass these laws. Pass these toothless laws. Go ahead, pass them. But notice how you get respect from Governor Green. He's viciously, violently opposed to our true civil rights, our land rights. Oh, he's going to sign this bill that does nothing for us, but it makes us feel like we've done something. Then we can all drift off again into the terrible state we're all in, satisfied with the thought that we did something.
You make my blood boil sometimes, William. Don't you know that people are going to remember me, William? And if they remember you, it will be with a bad taste in their mouths. Oh, I know it might not be fair. I know that I haven't done 1/10, 1/100 of what you've done. But I speak the voice of the people, William. I do it well, and I do it with class. You bully, you cajole, and you get what you want from sheer persistence, but no one likes to give in to a relentless nag. We give in to you, we follow you against our will, but we're not going to remember you kindly. But the people will for me.
Scene 23, Testimonies for the Anti-Discrimination Bill 1945.
I would like to remind the legislature that Honorable Ernest Reagan, in his report to the Secretary of the Interior, as well as his message to the legislature, has recognized the existence of discrimination. Even the plank adopted by the Democratic Party at the Fairbanks Convention favors the Equal Rights Bill. In fact, members of that committee are present in the Senate body.
Mr. Peratrovich, as I mentioned to you before, this bill will aggravate rather than allay the little feeling that now exists. Our native cultures have 10 centuries of white civilization to encompass in a few decades. Much progress needs to be made.
Only an Indian can know how it feels to be discriminated against. Either you are for discrimination or you are against it, according as your vote on this bill.
This legislation is wrong. Rather than being brought together, the races should be kept further apart. Who are these people, barely out of savagery, who want to associate with us whites, with 5,000 years of recorded civilization behind us?
I would not have expected that I, who am barely out of savagery, would have to remind a gentleman with 5,000 years of recorded civilization behind our Bill of Rights. When my husband
That's right.
and I came to Juneau and sought a home in a nice neighborhood where our children could play happily with our neighbors' children, we found such a house and arranged to lease it. When the owners learned that we were Indians, they said no. We would be compelled to live in the slums.
Will the law end discrimination?
Do your laws and against larceny, rape, and murder prevent those crimes? No law will eliminate crimes. But at least as legislatures, you can assert to the world that you recognize the evil of the present situation and speak your intent to help us overcome this discrimination. There are 3 kinds of persons who practice discrimination. First, the politician who wants to maintain an inferior minority group so he can always promise them something. Second, the Mr. and Mrs. Jones who aren't quite sure of their political position and who are nice to you on one occasion and can't see you on others, depending on who they are with. And third, the great Superman, who believes in the superiority of the white race. This super race attitude is wrong, and it forces our fine native people to be associated with less than desirable circumstances.
Scene 24, William and Louis, now as older men, sitting down in William Paul's living room, drinking tea.
You know, Louis, last night I had a dream. Our grandfather was in it. You know what he was doing? He was living in the spirit world, so far as I could tell. He was acting as the Goakan, the peacemaker. He would help people resolve the conflicts they had during their lives. Turned out the white people don't go straight to heaven or hell if they lived here in Tlingit country. If they did wrong to the Tlingit people, they had to face our peacemakers and to repent for what they did. And they repay the clans for the things that they did. Our grandfather was there, negotiating, running the meetings, acting fairly, but being severe when he needed to. He put on trial the people who stole our land. In the land of the spirit world, the Tlingit people get their country back. Well, we paid the people with small amounts of tobacco. Grandpa would settle the amount of tobacco, usually just a pouch or two. Seems a fair trade, after all we've been through. It was good to see Grandpa's face and to hear his voice again. I miss him.
Scene 25, the 1940 Puig, Tom Ukas, Punana Stit, Aak'wtaatseen has come out.
Achsani has,
Awe,
ach ish has,
awe, gunafchish,
kagak to she wishe,
gunafchish,
katu ashi nuch, ha to woo ya nigu gawu, katsu ha to woo sugu gawu.
Yeah.
Hatlagu kak, de ki de kut ke na gich, du kit ke hastin, klek tau. Kutu waji and wunau. Kakwaku a net de cook would de cook. Klekwasa has to woo wook hakak would tu satinetsu. Ya I dat chua ya I wakshi yich ayu. I klagu ish. Cook would a cook, yeah. Su ye cook. My paternal uncles, my father's people, we are going to sing a song. We have sung it during sad times, and we have sung it during happy times. Yes, our ancient maternal uncle was lost at sea with his nephews. For 1 year, we thought that he had died. Finally, though, he paddled back home. How good we felt to see our uncle again. Now, it seems as though, in front of your eyes, your ancient paternal uncle has paddled back here for you.
Okay. Scene 26, Frank Johnson and Andrew Hope, 1959. A postman delivers a telegram.
Oh, hell! What? We did it! Frank, we did it! A telegram from Leslie Levy Weisbro! We did it! We won! We won! Are you kidding me? Did we really? Yeah!
Oh, hell yeah. After 30 years, we won! We won!
Think we'll get a large settlement?
Probably not. And I don't care. I don't care if we get a dime. In the greatest country on earth, we won our case. And we beat William Paul. Scene 27. William Paul is an older man addressing the Alaska Federation of Natives Convention, 1966.
On the motion asking this board of directors to support the proposed native land bill by unanimous consent, I have to object. Because when you look over the bill that lies before you, I doubt very much if you have the very best of the many bills which have been brought before you. We had a good bill in the very first instance. It's entitled S-2020. That was a good bill. But, you know, since that time, we've been pushed back and pushed back, and now they're trying to run us out of the building.
Can we turn on
But
the lights?
I will not be run out of this building.
Thank you, sir.
May your words be like light to me.
I have something to say, and I will say it. But we've been pushed back and pushed back and pushed back until it has come to the point where nothing is left. But every white statesman who comes before you says, we have a good bill. It reminds me of the story about an Indian and a white man that went hunting in Oklahoma. They went out and came back with one turkey and one turkey buzzard. The white man said to the Indian, I want to be fair to you, so I will give you a choice. You can have the turkey buzzard and I will take the turkey. Or you will take the turkey buzzard and I will take the turkey. Or I will take the turkey and you will have the turkey buzzard. Now, which will you have? I've been listening to the speakers that come before us in this past week, and I have noticed this one fact. Nobody talks about the quantity of land which rightfully we claimed. Nobody said we claim 375 million acres. All they talk about was 40 million acres. The very same people have produced bill after bill, and every one of them is unsatisfactory, with this explanation, that this is the very best bill that we can have. And therefore we are told we should take this bill that is unsatisfactory because these gentlemen here say that it is our very best. In the bill, you will find, you people who live on the outside, you will find that you will have no subsistence hunting and fishing. If this bill, as it now passes, you will all have no Aboriginal rights for hunting or fishing. No subsistence rights. How are you going to live in the Iliamna area, or the Aleutian Island area, or any other area if that is not corrected? Take the matter of extinguishment. You will turn to your bill and you will find your rights, your Aboriginal rights, are extinguished. What does extinguished mean? It means all your privileges on which you live are gone forever. What is the matter with you people? We know more than anybody about this subject, and an executive order does not extinguish your rights. So you people who live in the Chugach area and other areas, down in the Bethel area, those proclamations do not take your Aboriginal rights. And if you fight for your rights, it will be demonstrated. Indian rights, Aboriginal rights are primary. We have the best laws, the best rights in law in all the United States because we have the first rights. That has been demonstrated many times. I want to offer an amendment. On page 3, paragraph 5, line 3, quote, "No provision of this act shall constitute a precedent for reopening, renegotiating, or legislating upon any settlement involving land claims or other matters with any Native organization." The thing that the United States and our senators and our representatives want is to put an end to Aboriginal rights. As far as I'm concerned, I want my Aboriginal rights. And I'm willing to give what I have to give up. And I'm not going to propose a bill with less than what I want. If Congress wants to cut my wishes down, let Congress do it. But don't go before Congress with a poor bill, something like the one that we have now. There is one more thing. It seems to me that our leaders, your leaders, are coming before you as though they were afraid, as though they are bargaining from weakness. Basically, we own the land. And I'm not going to go before Congress and tell them that I want only 40 million acres. I want 375 million acres, not 80 million or 60 million or 40 million. In a way, now, suppose this bill is defeated. How are you hurt? How long has that land stayed there? And it is still there. And it is still valuable. And it is more valuable than ever. So how are you going to be hurt if this bill fails? So don't be afraid. In a way, I know I'm talking contrary to the opinions of my noble son, Frederick Paul, attorney at law representing Arctic Slope Natives Association. But after all, I have to talk to my own convictions. I think I have been in the Indian land fight longer than anybody else. And as I started from the beginning, I have learned. The mistakes that I made are the mistakes that the Tlingit and Haidas made. The mistakes that the Tlingit and Haidas made are the mistakes that you have made. And we are learning as we go along. One thing I have learned, and it is this. We own the land. It is our land. So don't be afraid.
Okay, wonderful. Chiburis, it was so fun to be able to share some of these words with you, which we know we'd love to hear about any corrections we should make, thoughts, ideas. But also
he'd
just
like to hear.
Sharing.
Don't critique us. We're just reading what's in here.
But maybe we have just a couple minutes, because I know it's maybe just a few, two or 3 minutes. Just a couple questions, comments, and thoughts. Anything like that. You have a thought?
Actually, when addicts, particularly
What's that?
having each other, physical activity, get up, wear costumes.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be absolutely
It must
wonderful.
take a tremendous amount of time and energy to really practice and get to where you're going.
Totally. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely.
Last
Absolutely.
week, Perseverance Theater, Perseverance Theater got a grant for Ishmael to work on it, and then we workshopped it last week. We spent all week workshopping it. That was the 4 of us. And then we had some other actors from Xh'unei, and we did a reading at the Clinton and Haida Community Center. And we were more in costume, and there was a lot more blocking, but we only had 2 hours last night to bring our friends here up to speed. So I think they did a great job. You're certainly right, there was a very different feeling in Xh'unei when we really kind of put more physicality to it. It was pretty amazing.
But yeah, absolutely. It's fun when you get a chance to be on your feet. So thank you. A couple other comments? Yeah.
Yeah, I was just envisioning a time frame in my mind, and as I was envisioning these time frames, because you guys went through a series of different times in our history, that I saw a screenplay. And I saw a very powerful screenplay. So think about that in the future, because I think that you're touching on a lot of things that is very empowering on so many levels, and it really is empowering about what really makes us who we are and what to hold on to. And the land is very, very important to all of us. So I just think that with what you're doing, also think about expanding it further in the future.
Thank you.
Because you have a lot to say.
I also think bringing it to high schools and having high school students doing it and make it sort of just like this really solidified play that, sort of like Romeo and Juliet that people do over and over again. I think it'd be really
That would be
important
cool.
asset for history.
That would be cool. I'd love to do that. Thank
It'd be
you.
a great way to share the history.
David?
Xh'unei.
Jeez.
I was thinking about your mother, Ish.
Brianna. Jeez.
I was thinking of your father
Jeez.
and your grandfather.
Jeez.
And as I was listening and going through those time periods, thinking of things I'd heard, and especially like the young people, because that's you. Over the years, and thinking about this event, this organization, and the people, I appreciated thinking about the individuals portrayed, thinking about the life that they led. That's where you took me. Thinking about what was going on. And it brought me right to this place, here, right to this conference. That things haven't changed. And that's my thinking. But I think when I remember your dad and remember your mother and your grandfather, your dad's dad, and thinking about hearing your grandfather on the radio, and he'd be telling stories and playing music with his stories, and it took me back to those times, the humanness of the people. And as your dad told me about the A and B, it's a soulful organization. And so it was good. It was good to hear some of these things and picture them without that ego that takes a lot of us.
Well, I just really appreciated, like he said, taking us all back to that period and how multidimensional you made William Paul. That so many of the speeches were so empowering, and he really was speaking a kind of a truth. But even though he was such a total pain in the neck, and you guys were, but you really captured that. And then also, so many times when the story gets told, it's like all about William Paul, and you don't get the Andrew Hope and the Frank Johnson and the other men and women who really did so much also. So I think you really captured that kind of, and we always forget in history that they don't know what's going to happen. They didn't know how it was going to come out. They didn't know it was going to take 30 years. They didn't know which of the cases was going to ultimately really prevail. That they were just shooting in the dark, and how much courage it took to stick with it and perseverance. So I really liked it. It was great.
I appreciated the songs and the way in which the dialogue happened, and then the songs movement came in. And I was wondering if you might say something about what the song was communicating, which I thought you did.
Thank you. Yeah, there were several songs in the piece. The first one was written for my daughter before she was born. And I wanted to write her a song, and then it came to me as I was driving down the road. And there's more to this work, and so you get like little slices of them, because they help the play sort of move. After that, there was the last one was written while we actually were staging the play in Xh'unei. It emerged, and so that's the one that probably textures the play, because it's a reaction from the play itself. So they're original songs. Most of them are little chunks of it. I think there were 3. The second one's an outside song to an entrance. A lot of times Tlingit people would stand outside the door and sing a song to warm their voices up and to let people know they're coming. A lot of times they would sing it louder and louder to simulate we're coming towards your house, and then they would dance the song. So that's what those ones are.
So maybe 2 more questions and comments.
And Diane.
Stand up. First I want to say to Anna, not to worry, you did good. My grandparents were Flora and James D. Williams from Sitka. And I'm getting to that point where I've got some history behind me now. It's hard to think that next year, not to push it, but I'll be 60. I knew your father. I actually knew him pretty well before all the pipeline things and stuff started happening. And I actually read on KM, or on the radio here at the university, one of your mother's poems for public radio and television. I don't know what that noise is. It's kind of creepy.
Spirits.
And a lot of power. No. And I met William Paul. And my brother spent time with him, and what he really liked about William was his philosophical nature and his bright, but very intelligent human, which is also not unusual for our Tlingit people, many of whom, and when you grow up amongst the people, and I guess that was one advantage I have with a rough upbringing, was that I did grow in the land of my people, with and surrounded by my people. And so I actually got to know Roy Kradovich Sr. Met him when I was 15 years old, and what an impression that left, because he was a powerful presence. His was a powerful presence. And Frederick Paul, who gave me his manuscript while he was still working on it, and the conversations we had about the efforts and his feelings and perceptions. And I feel blessed that I got to talk to elders who were present at the hearing when the anti-discrimination bill went before the Senate. And to hear those things and not actually at the time realizing what a gift that was. I know that we as generations have different experiences and different expressions. And one of the things about the period was kind of the vernacular of even English for the 30s, 20s, 30s, 40s.
Yeah.
And so you asked for some feedback. You might want to take a look at that just as a suggestion.
That's a great thought. Thank you.
There were things that when I was doing research 20 years ago, and through several years, that I would interview people who lived next door to the Kradoviches and who lived actually, one of the Shaddocks was on a case where my grandfather was murdered, and where they let the guy go, but that's another story. But then to learn about how some of the people spoke, there was a polite tone, but also a racist one, which was very interesting. But it was not unusual. There were things that were said that were accepted. I would hesitate to have Elizabeth swearing.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
And I say that because in all of my research on Elizabeth, which I guess would be fairly extensive, and I'm right, it wasn't, and I've read letters written by her, and the people wouldn't be likely to talk about I, and I noticed this in the letters often, that it would be about, it wouldn't be that word, it wouldn't be I. And it was just something that kind of jumped out at me.
Sure.
And so you might want to take a look at that way of speaking. And I think that might be more of a useful thing, a more today thing, than something that I didn't hear much when I was growing up. And, so those are just things to think about. I do have to ask, because I've never heard of the Ye Shatan or the Ye Lakalu, you say the raven Lord hat. And I hadn't heard that, so I thought, well, I gotta ask about that. That is just
Do Xh'unei. That's his actual history. Yeah.
Yeah. The first speech that I gave would literally be something that theoretically I would say at a ceremony like that. And the translation was really spot on. It was me recounting the history of what happened. It was almost 200 years ago, I suppose, when our clan leader at the time died down in the Tsimshian country. As a way of avoiding a war, the Tsimshian carved this hat, and it came up, and they put it on the raft. So it's all very literal. They pushed it out, it floated across to us, and that's how we avoided that conflict. That it balanced things out, I guess you could say. And so we weren't mad.
It's just that the word Lord didn't feel
Oh,
like
okay.
like
It's-
that felt like more of a contemporary translation.
Yeah,
Just
it is kind of a different.
Raven, rich man, or absolutely, we can translate it to something.
Yeah, I've heard it translated a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
One that I've seen is leader of all ravens, which I'm very hesitant to use because I don't want to piss off the other ravens.
Knights, you guys were.
But, so yeah, it's
I don't want to take up too much thing, and again, you know, and I thought you did a very nice job. And you are a very talented young man. I don't have any.
Thank you. What was
Mike?
What did you
Mike,
say?
and he's actually T-Hiton, so that's what's
Yeah,
one of the cool
that's-
things that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very connected to this story, you know, being related directly to, that William Palm, who was Paul, they were, I guess you'd call them uncles. My great-great-grandmother would call them nephews. And then,
By the way, that I read pretty much all the minutes of the A and B beginning back when you first organized. Fascinating history, those kinds of details, and those are things that you can maybe refer to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jeez.
So Anna, and then Mita, and then we might have to.
I loved it. It was an honor to work on this, but I wanted to say what I found really intriguing was it made me curious about the relationship between Elizabeth and Roy. You know, it's sort of you got into it, and it was explored somewhat. It gave me a deeper sense of the complexity of how complex their relationship truly must have been, to be constantly in the struggle together and to have each other's backs one way or another, and then to also be concerned about the future and all these other things. So that I just wanted to thank you. I have a whole new concept of Elizabeth and Roy.
Okay.
Tish. Nanyari Nach City Pachari Yuri and then Tiachan Dutch home. And I'd like to recognize my auntie, maternal side, Jacqueline Estes. And if I make a mistake, please correct me. From the family stories and legends that I've heard through the family passed down is that Tilly Paul Tamarie was a highwoman in Teton, and her home was in Salmon Bay. Her home was burnt down in a collaboration between the cannery and the farms people. And then the community respected her in such a way that they rebuilt it. And it was burnt down again. And they told her it was rebuilt again, that they would burn it down with her inside. The Salmon Bay was very rich in salmon, beautiful. It was a blessing and gift. And Salmon Bay itself, its beauty, is a blessing. And so that ferocity, within William and his brother, really is visceral. It's deep. It's in their family lineage. So to understand where some of that was coming from.
Yeah, maybe the next draft needs Tilly Paul
Again,
again.
please
Yeah.
defer to my Jacqueline Estes, Ms. Machete.
Jeez. Okay. Okay, well, I think we'll.
Announcements. The illustrious Jack Dalton has a world premiere next weekend, correct?
Oh, no. The world premieres in May.
But you have a
Next
play
weekend is a storytelling performance.
at Out North Theater Space. I urge you to go. It's Friday and Saturday and Sunday?
Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Thursday,
Sunday.
Friday, Saturday. And then tomorrow, all the events take place over in the Social Sciences Building, which is by the Consortium Library. So don't come here tomorrow morning. So head over to the east side of campus. Anyway, bravo. Thank you. They call it.